Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DAOs and Coordination Culture. Wanted to introduce to you Joshua Lapidus from Opolis and many other amazing DAO projects. Come on up. Give him a hand.
Thank you. Hello. It is incredibly bright up here, but I'm really enjoying the grass. Has everybody been saying this? Yes. Okay. It's a good feature. I appreciate it. I'm Joshua, the executive steward for partnerships and ecosystem at Opolis. I'm also a steward of ETH Denver, and we founded an NFT project called Rainbow Rolls, and then also the Buffcorn Biddle Brigade through ETH Denver. A little bit that I'll talk about. I'm also a little bit jet lagged, so I apologize if I lose stream of thought. Just, I don't know, ask a question or something if I seem to trail off. The topic is gamification of boring things, and when I was putting the slides together, it's mostly talking about the boring things and a little bit about how we gamify those at a macro level. So when we think of gamification, there's the micro of gamification. For example, like I carry around a little NFC card that I got from POAP, and I hand these out to people who come up and say hello as like a little gamification, like nice to meet you. You can do the Telegram thing where you introduce yourself, you take a little selfie together, and you say hello. But people don't generally like go to your links. And on my POAP, there's a link to my lens that has all of the different links that, my Telegram, my Calendly, all these different things. And it's an extra step. It's a little bit of a gamification. But what I want to talk about more is the macro of gamification, which is how do we design entire ecosystems, economies, tokenomics to align incentives around the things that we're trying to accomplish. So first, I have to dive into the boring things, so if you bear with me a little bit. Opolis is a member-owned digital employment cooperative. We started in 2017, pivoted to this product in 2020, which is focused on the solopreneur, the independent worker. And if you look at the trend lines for W-2 employment versus 1099 employment, by 2028, there should be about 90 million freelancers. This trend started with, actually before this chart, back in the 80s, 90s, companies started gutting pensions, which I know this is a US-centric thing, but if a company is not going to provide you substantial retirement, you have no sort of loyalty to them long-term, right? And in the DAO space, which I assume, how many of you guys work for a DAO? Oh, that's a lot of hands. Nice. There isn't really a pension. You're all independents. There's not traditional payroll. These are trends that we're developing in Web3, but we're being accompanied by the Great Resignation, where people are leaving these big companies and going off on their own. You guys are all DAOists. I don't need to go deep into this. DAOs are growing a lot, very fast. So what is Opolis at its core? And it's the ability for an individual to be self-sovereign in their employment. So the traditional employment stack, you work for a very large company, and they draw you in with, well, we're going to give you nice healthcare, we're going to match your 401k benefits. Europeans, I imagine, is a substantial pension as a draw, like come work and stay here. But as these evaporate, and as you get let go from a job, you then have to find another source for these benefits. In the US, we have something called COBRA, which allows you to access your previous employment benefits, but at a substantial increase in cost because there's no subsidy. So we like to talk about Emily. She was one of our earlier members. A real person, not a real name. Freelancer for 6 years. Now has 4 different streams of income from different DAOs, was a software developer at a traditional company in California. when you leave your W-2, which is a job where I realize that I'm giving a US-centric presentation in Europe, and so I'm going to try to explain things that I wouldn't normally explain. W-2 employment is where the employer removes, they withhold taxes and pay the government on your behalf. 1099 is where they just give you all of the cash, and then you're responsible for figuring it out on your own. So Emily had a hell of a ride trying to figure out all of these things on her own, was paying multiple different people, had different softwares, none of it's really coordinated, and all of the time that an independent spends focusing on being compliant with the law is time that they are not spending doing what they love or being productive for the DAO that they're contributing to, and it's a huge pain in the ass. So along comes Opolis, and what we do, and not just for Emily, but all the DAOs that she's contributing to, we've created this employment wrapper by which the DAO is able to, instead of employing an American via a subsidiary, just giving the stablecoins, ETH, whatever, native tokens, and allowing us to handle the compliance work in the back end, which results in one platform, so you're not having to go through like 3 or 4 different softwares, a better insurance plan, and not having to negotiate, like, am I going to put in enough hours with one DAO to be able to qualify for benefits, but being able to own that employment herself. A few more slides of boring, I promise we'll get there. This is the premium, like medical, dental, vision. There's customizable PTO and holiday, a couple different insurances, none of which DAOs are in the business of setting up, and they shouldn't be, because, like, raise your hand if you're in a DAO that's focused on employment law. No hands went up. It's not a thing that you, like tax structures, payroll, withholding, it's really boring shit. That's one of the things that we're here to talk about. Here's another slide. We can get past it. Payroll, compliance, employment risk, and that's why employment is the killer app. So we talk about all these people that are coming into DAOs, but it's actually really small in the global scope of people who are working on things. And we talk about mass adoption of crypto, but like how many times today or yesterday or in the past few days have you actually spent your crypto on a thing at a vendor? Again, no hands went up. A lot of people are being paid in crypto, and then they have to pay their bills in fiat. And so one of the things that we do is this crypto payroll, where you get paid natively in DAI or ETH or whatever, and we're able to process it into cash so that you don't have to go through a centralized exchange. But the other thing that we're seeing is an increasing number of like regular ass people, real estate agents, lawyers, doctors, who will run their fiat payroll through us, but they'll take a portion of their paycheck in crypto, and that is how we get to mass adoption. When people actually regular people just start taking it and holding it, and eventually the other companies will catch up to the point where we're able to use a POS. What does all this mean for Emily specifically? She can use this for proof of personhood, proof of income, proof of insurance, proof of employment, proof of invoice, and like proof of a skill. And all this can be represented through NFTs that we're developing and launching for our members to be able to improve this stack, and it contributes to reputation. What are things that some of the things on this list can be used for?
Mortgage applications?
Yeah, housing. That's a really big one. And we've had upwards of 20 members use just the proof of employment and the proof of income to be able to secure car loans, mortgages, rental applications. It was actually more difficult for me to rent when I first started working in Web3 than it was to buy a house, because they didn't particularly like that my income was like in magic internet money from magic internet companies. And when I joined the Commons, one pay stub, that's all it took, and I was able to get my mortgage. So how does it work for Emily? So let's say Emily works for Doing Good. She's paid in DAI. She sets up an employment wrapper for herself. This is Buffcorn LLC. I don't know, are you guys familiar with Buffcorns? Yeah. All right. Yes. Buffcorns is the buffalo and unicorn. So Buffcorn LLC, this is her employment vehicle that all of her different streams of income are going to be funneling into. She's going to get an invoice from the Commons in DAI, and then we're going to process it, pay all the premiums for the benefits that she's elected, and the taxes. And then we're going to give her a biweekly paycheck. And then she's going to take those pay stubs, and she's going to be able to live in the real world. The NFT component that's being developed is one, you can use the NFT, you can use the DAO revenue that you're earning to mint a proof of employment, proof of insurance, and then these work referrals, which I'm about to get into, will be represented as an NFT from these various different DAOs that she's participating in. And as on-chain reputation systems and credit score systems get developed, there's not really a stack for proving all of these things and one centralized location. And that's somewhat by design, but makes it very difficult to enhance trust throughout the metaverse. So here we get to the game designs. So what we've done with our token, the work token, is we only mint new work when the commons grows. And our metric is PCPV, which is the Payroll Commons payroll volume. So this is how much money is run in payroll on a bi-weekly basis. Technically semi-monthly, we do twice a month. And so let's say Emily's making $100,000 a year, or that's what she's invoicing. That's probably going to translate to somewhere between 33,000 and 75,000 work tokens. That comes out of this first bucket, the 30% of work that are minted. When we grow by 10%, 5 million work are minted. And I'm going to use myself as the personal example. As an employee member for about 2 years, I've probably earned like 600,000 work. But for making referrals, I probably earned about 2.5 million work. And I continue to dilute myself because I am incentivized by this game to continue to dilute my own voting power. Because if we don't grow, no new tokens get minted. And this inflationary model has, one, incentivized people who are early to join and maintain and continue to process payroll and continue to make referrals. Because if they stop making referrals, the system stops entirely. We don't grow to be a global public utility infrastructure for employment. We're not able to take down the Web 2 systems that created the subjugatory thing structure that we're all kind of stuck in with the before slides. Are there any questions about this before I know it's not really a Q&A type thing, but I'm a Q&A type presenter. I don't like just talking. No? Okay. Everyone understands this? You're going to get quizzed afterward. So how does it work? What's the gamification part? So Emily over here she's earning her work referrals. Every time she's running her payroll, she's earning a little bit of work. But the DAO that referred her, and then let's say is doing good in this case, is also earning work. So if she, for a paycheck, earns 3,000 work, doing good is also earning 3,000 work. And this is the incentive. This is the gamification. What we've done is we've encouraged people to run their payroll through the system. We've encouraged DAOs to onboard their contributors. And then we've also encouraged them to recruit other DAOs to continue to support this ecosystem. Eventually, it'll be a base layer of, and this is where we get into the micro of gamification, where you've got a nice dashboard, and this is like the dopamine hits, where you want to log in, you see how much of your superfluid stream has come in yet. Does anybody else do that? You log in and you watch your superfluid stream? Yes. You guys should, I don't know if you're all familiar with superfluid. It's We use them for streaming the token to investors. But you set up a stream, and then the token is like streamed like per second or per block. I'm not particularly certain on how it works. But let's say you've got a vesting schedule over 4 years. You just watch it tick up, and over time you can claim it as often as you'd like. They're one of the tech partners that we're working with to try to stream payroll. One of the legal blocks right now, blockers to doing streaming payroll, is that, okay, so USDC is a stable coin that a lot of people are paid in, but the Department of Labor, the US Department, most departments of labor, don't consider it to be real currency. There's something called the FLSA, which is the Fair Labor Standard Act, that prevents like farmers from being paid in hamburgers. It's like, yeah, I'll work for your farm, but I don't want to get paid in like food. I want to get paid in real dollars. Same thing with Walmart and being paid in like Walmart coupons. So the Department of Labor basically considers USDC to be hamburgers. And so one of the reasons we can't stream full payroll yet is because the law has not caught up to where the technology is, which is often how things work. But we're really looking forward to this. So there's the two sides of the gamification of the commons. One, this kind of soul-bound token that your reputation is built into. You have all of these different proof of income, proof of invoices, proof of your on-chain reputation, identity, work. And then you also have the work tokens where you're actually being paid to pay yourself. We call this process payroll mining. Okay, so here's my like call to action. This is what we need. We have employee members.